let's see that YouTube stupid fast car. See how fast it is.
Okay guys, I went ahead and picked up a few things this week for the Mustang. I was having some issues with cooling and my intake air temps coming up. What happens when the intake air temperature comes up is it'll actually cut timing back. So I went ahead and purchased some things from the local auto parts store, one of them being some DEI heat wrap, and I'll show it in a second, but it's like this gold tape that goes on cooler surfaces like the intake pipes and air filter box and things like that in order to keep the temperature down. So I'm going to actually wrap some of my intercooler tubes in it. That way I don't have any issues with the piping getting really hot where the IAT is. It should keep all the charge air really cool, even though the radiator and fans are right up front here blowing all that hot air onto the piping. It should help insulate it better to keep the heat out of it. Also, I went ahead and purchased off CJ's Pony Parts. I got this 4-core radiator that I just installed. I was having issues with my SVE radiator not keeping the car cool enough, and I'll show a comparison here. But what I had happen to me the other day was this coil hose. I was using these cheap Summit coil hoses, and they're like this Alumilite, like this really not that good of a metal, and they give you these nice little adapters with it to go to different hose sizes and whatnot. The only problem is they're very slippery. So even being on the water neck on both sides of the water pump, it actually was able to slip off under high temperature. So what I did was I went ahead and bought these Dayco flex hoses. They're really cheap on Summit. They're like, it was like 15 bucks for this one and like 20 bucks for that one. That's pretty cheap. And they do have this like metal insert on the inside, if you can see there, and it actually wraps around the whole thing. So these are really good for engine swaps. I do see some people using them, and especially with my tight term right here coming off by the turbo, I feel like these will be really good for what I'm doing. And they actually should keep the heat down a little bit better than the coil hoses over there, because this is metal, and when it's in the engine bay, metal radiates heat very good, especially thin Alumilite or whatever the heck this stuff is, this China metal. We're sitting out here. I took the car for a few joyrides. I got it kind of hot, like on about 210 degrees or so, which isn't so bad. My engine coolant temp sensor for my water temp gauge is on the bottom of the water pump, so it reads a little higher than the actual engine temp, being that it's right by the thermostat where all that hot fluid comes out. So what happened was I pulled the car up, we sat outside for a minute, and the bottom hose popped off, and engine antifreeze went everywhere, all over everybody, in my face and everything, like I was standing right in front of the car. So I'm done with that. I'm not doing that again. And I'm also going to reprogram my fans in HP tuners to stay on longer to keep this thing cooler. And then the transcooler fan will come on with the first fan. That's always been like that, but I'm going to command it to come on a little early and stay on longer, and then the second one, in case it gets up in temp at all, will come on and help. But this 4-core should help keep this cool. It came off CJ's Pony Parts. It was about $364 shipped. Or it might have been like $334, something like that, right in the $330 range for this. It didn't come with the fans, but the fans off my SVE radiator bolted right up to this one. The SVE radiator is a 3-core. It came with the fans, and it came off of Late Model Restoration, LMR.com, and it was about $360 shipped. But I was able to take the fans off, put them on this one, and be able to just swap it, and we're good to go with that. This is the DEI wrap that I got from the local auto parts store. As you can see, it's nice gold. It has an adhesive back to it, so that way it can stick to almost anything that you want to stick it to. The only downfall is it's actually like $37 for this one little roll. You can see this is what you get in the sheet. This is all you get for $37. I know it doesn't seem like much, but I've seen videos and tests on this this paper material, this DEI heat wrap, gold reflective tape, and it is phenomenal. You can stick direct flame right on it and it actually keeps the temp lower. This stuff's good to 850 degrees, so there's no reason why this shouldn't deflect a little bit of radiator heat. Yes, I know my hair is a mess. I don't care. I had to get up early, work on the car so we can get it ready, get it loaded up, and get out to Beaver Springs for 5 o'clock. Me and my buddy in his nitrous Malibu are going to be racing, but he's not going to be running nitrous today. He's only going to be on the motor. It's just a 5.3 cammed out, same exact setup I have, just without the turbo. So it's really just going to be a fun run just to start dialing in our cars, but it's still going to be interesting to see what the difference will be between the two cars.
Nitrous plate has vacuum caps over it because that's professional.
You're missing a header bolt.
Oh, there's missing on that side.
Quite a few, actually. So it's balanced out then.
Yeah, there's bigger on that side.
How many miles on this engine?
I don't even know.
Probably about 2.
I never owned it. I never owned it until it was out of a vehicle.
I never owned it until it was out of a vehicle. Pretty cool.
But yeah, it's just wire nut and zip tie special. But it's got push lock fuel line.
His engine looks a little cleaner than yours.
I swear, mine's a Gen 3 bottom and he's got a Gen 4. He's got a better chance of not breaking.
Yeah, but his has been on a dyno and mine wouldn't run the whole way to the dyno. And I didn't have
So are we doing the best out of 3 or what are we doing?
That's up to him.
Yeah, if I win, he can have a rematch.
$5 a race.
I'm out of $5 if I lose the first one.
Yeah, let's see that U-10 stupid fast car. See how fast it is. Oh yeah, you can see these fans scrambling through fences. Those folks up and in. Top end of that Malibu walking through big time 11.96 as Maori's Mustang ran a much slower 12.29. Hot street to the lane, it is. Hot street to the lane. Hot street will follow Wicked Bike's in 4. Hot street will follow Wicked Bike, and Wicked Bike is in 4.
Did not think we were going to be able to.
So Hot Street.
There was no brakes, dude. They
Oh
pushed
my
through the green.
god. I seen the smoke and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna
Well, hey, Doofy, there's your 5.
Thank you. You want to go again? Another one? You want it back?
Alright, here comes the Nasty Street. This is
I'll bet you odd money.
Odd money. I think I got $4.
I'll bet you odd money, my 4 to your 5. How's
You
that
red
right?
lighted.
Yeah, because I had no brake pressure.
All right, I'll give you. Okay. Okay.
It's in the big end.
Your two-step wasn't going.
Do you have a GoPro in the car?
No, I wanted to, but
Because I about fucking went in here to land on the big end.
you want for yourself. You want to go again? I'll put it on each of the cars.
Hopefully I have brakes next weekend.
What are we doing?
Tire pressure, I'm gonna lower it 2 pounds. Give each corner of my suspension 1 click and turn my boost back up.
Bingo! Let's freaking get it.
I really didn't go up that much. We gonna get it. I'm gonna turn you back up, little boosty boost. Could you do my back tire?
Oh, shit.
So I could get the lead on that at least.
You got a turbo, you don't need no back tire. Listen. If we get a good head-up race this time, right?
If you don't jump, you mean?
If I don't jump,
Okay.
you're videoing, right?
Yep.
If I don't jump, we get a good head-up race, and I still drive out of your life again. You got the back tire on the street for life.
For life. For life.
For life.
Shit, I'll need it with all the shit you're gonna be cramming through that thing. Jesus Lord.
Don't matter if you need it or not, you got it.
Low
We'll
nines,
leave
bro.
here tonight and give you the back tire on the street.
Sounds fair.
Works for me. I'll drive to the spot too, because I ain't got no trailer. You don't have to unload. I'm gonna be like 911. Hello, there's somebody unloading a car off the trailer. Looks like a drag racing vehicle. Right out of there. Sounds like somebody's out here doing burnouts with the drag race vehicle. You're gonna be putting it back on the trailer. I'm gonna be gone. With my
This fucking guy. Oh my god.
Trying to take on Avery Buck. We'll see if Avery doesn't put this one in the book. You know he's got the mojo.
I want to review the clips from last night at Beaver Springs. Before everybody decides to click away from the video because they're sad about the times that I ran, I'm not sad at all. In fact, it makes me extremely happy that the car did what it did because it was, number one, it was consistent, okay? The car had about the same mile per hour each time I ran. The first time it was 126 mile an hour. The second time it was 127 mile an hour. Even though both times were horrible, think about this. Let's talk about my 60 foot, okay? The 60 foot on my car was 2.5 seconds. That's horrible. The car does not get out of the hole, and I'll tell you why. I need a torque converter, okay? I'm currently running a naturally aspirated 3000 stall torque converter. It's not made for that type of car. What happens is you get up on the line, you get on the two-step and trans brake, and that thing just doesn't build any boost. I'm lucky if I get 2 pounds of boost off the line. I should be at least 10 for that car to hook and go. So that torque converter is killing me. So being that it's for a naturally aspirated car, it's actually really tight, and they have what they call a flash stall speed, which is the actual RPM that the engine needs to turn to be able to move the car. for that torque converter, it's around 2200 RPM, which means that's as far as I'm gonna get up on the trans brake before I can launch, and that's why she's so slow out of the hole. I currently have the right torque converter on order for the car from PTC Converters, Pro Torque Converters. Feel free to look them up, they're well known. It's about $1,000 for the torque converter, but it's gonna be exactly what I need, and it'll handle any abuse that I can throw at it, also while letting me two-step and trans brake up to about 3,500 RPM. That should be enough to get off the line about 10 pounds of boost, at least. Now, the only thing that sucks about that is it's a 5-week lead time. So I'm stuck with this crappy ass torque converter until I get that one in the mail. Anyways, good job to Avery. I'm glad he beat me because it gives me a goal to keep pushing forward.